Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome in to an early live. What's going on, everybody? I don't even know what to tell y'all or what to say to y'all right now, but welcome in. If you are new to the channel, this is your first time here. Hi, hello, my name is Tanya or Titanium Built. You can call me either or. Welcome in, everybody. So if you guys haven't heard, which I think everyone's heard by now, I was going to come on earlier, but I wanted to get some more information for you guys before I just jumped on the live. Bryan Kohberger has accepted, I guess he was offered a plea, or I think that he asked for a plea deal personally, but yeah, so he's guilty. We all kind of knew that, but hearing him say it, I want to hear him say it. I'm looking forward to that. I am like shaky right now, even like it. I'm in shock. I been covering cases on this channel for it'll be 4 years in September. I thought it was going to be 3. It's going to be 4 years in September because this case will be 3 years in November. So this was like one of my first cases I ever covered on this channel. So I'm kind of like feeling that I hit a brick wall feeling, because I'm not like, what do I need to see? What do I need to see? Because I know it's going to come to us now. I don't know. It's just a different feeling. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $2.79. That's very nice of you. Close said, what a day. I know. I'm really sad for the families. I have some stuff from the families to tell you, from Xana's family and from the Gonzalez's, which I'm sure everyone's heard from the Gonzalez family. That's how I knew it was legit. So I found out I was over and this side of the house. And I was going to go up through the chat while I talk to you guys for a minute, but I was over just hanging out, chilling, doing my thing, right? I was like, I got to get up here in like a few minutes, because I have a certain time I've got to like do things, right? So I'm getting ready to get up, and Brandy Wine was like on Twitter. She's like, and this is so, I feel so bad because I was like, no way. She was like, go to Tanya if you need to, like, have any if you need your Idaho forward and fixed, like, and so she asked me today, she's like, did Bryan take a plea? And without even like looking it up right first, I was like, no way. I was like, I don't see the prosecution doing that. And then as soon as I like sent that, instead of like Googling it first, I went and I Googled it, and I'm like, okay, there's stuff coming up. TMZ saying something. So then I like went back to Twitter or X, and I'm like, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure it out. And then I, figured it out. And apparently he did. So we're going to go over some of that. I took some notes and all that good stuff because I've got some stuff I could tell you. But I'm having a little eyelash problem. Hello, Willows. Do you know if all the documents will be unsealed? That I don't know, but I'm going to send in for it for you. Actually, I need to write that down because I know I'll forget. Because I never did, because everybody got rejected, and then they would put your name like on the site, right? They'd be like, there's your full name, and they'd say no. So I never, didn't even try. I mean, I did actually try once, I think, and they told me no, but it was before they sealed it and put everybody out there. And welcome in, everybody. I'm just kind of like looking through your guys' stuff. This is just nuts. I've got so much to tell you guys, though. But I was just going to go down and see who was all in here. Hey, baby girl. Hey, Otto. Otto, you made it live. I just realized it's not in the middle of the night. And thanks, Willows, for sending me. I think you sent me that thing about Santa on Twitter. You always usually do. Oh, and Brandy just said I was live. That was so sweet of her. Okay. Yeah, this is I'm just in amazement still. We're going to go through some stuff. I'm just still in amazement. When this happened to me one other time and it was with Kylie Rodney, and when we got the medical examiner report, like we got what we needed. I thought, I'm not a conspirator. So when they told me, what happened to her, I was not like one of those people that was like, nope, that's not what happened. This is what happened, because I'm a medical examiner. You know what I mean? Because I'm not. I'm extremely disappointed with this plea deal. I hope that we find out. I hope that I hope he stands up there like BTK did and others before him, and he has to plead guilty to each case or each count and each name. I want to hear him say, I'm guilty. I think the families deserve that. Right? I mean, and then I was talking to Ashley earlier. She called and she was like, can you believe this? And I'm like, I can't. And I looked down at my fingernails, and they have like the little hearts, and then they're pink with the purple hearts. And I like almost lost it because I'm reading the Gonzalez's, Facebook, and they're like, it's true. We need time. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So what I think, and this is what I told Ashley as well. Oh, thank you for the $6.99. This has to go to trial, yeah, and the judge has to agree to it. He can deny it. He sure can. I think that they probably maybe already did all that, and that's why it's been put out. But I don't know. So yeah, I actually have it up. The plea process. Yep, I have it up. I have that up actually right here. Don't you worry, KCG, because I don't know a lot about it either. So we'll learn a little, and then of course I'll come back and make sure that we do a full live and we learn every single thing. And we're going to go over whatever we can find tonight too. Oh, that's okay, Mary Beth. That's okay. Have fun at work. Man, it makes me hungry now. Man. They did save a lot of money doing it this way. So yeah, okay. So this is what we'll do. We'll go over. I have nothing in any particular order. I just have, I'm going to actually exit out of that, exit out of this, exit out of this. Oh, actually, hold on for a second. Willie, if you're listening to this, Willie, and a half years ago, you made a little bet with me, I'd say about 2 years ago, that Bryan Kohberger would be innocent, and because you know him, and I told you, "I'll take my money in $2 bills. I'll accept that whenever that's ready. I'll accept that whenever." And I did go over to some other people's posts and see what they were talking about. Like, people that were maybe more, for Bryan being innocent, and I just wanted to look, and I wanted to see what they think, because this is, like, crazy. Like, whether you think that he was guilty or you thought he was innocent or you just didn't really know, I think this kinda shook us all. But, they're just kinda saying, like, you know, he had to do it. So, this is what was sent to me actually on Twitter. I found the little article, though. I think this is the one that Willow sent. Thank you for sending this. I would have not seen this probably. But Xana's family's very upset, which I was actually surprised to hear, which, I mean, I wasn't surprised to hear, but, in a way I was so fast, because, like, with the Gonzalez's, they have their Facebook, page. And so they can kind of just go right to their Facebook and then get it out there. With the other family members, they go through the news media, and, well, TMZ was there, And, TMZ is probably knocking on all their doors at the same time. Like, reporter here. I couldn't imagine. Where's Bryan Enton when you need him? He should be there, actually. He should be there. We will go to his page just in case he puts anything else out. Because that's where I went to Bryan Enton, and then I went to the Gonzalez's page. And it does look like they have a video on their News Nation network, so we can watch that. But we'll go through what the family members think first, and then we'll do that. Okay, so Xana's family is furious. They're pissed. I would be too. So apparently so the University of Idaho, students that were murdered, he accepted a plea deal today to avoid trial. So I guess apparently the deal was announced in a letter to the family members, and there's a hearing scheduled for July 2nd in Boise, Idaho. And we're going to hear from, them and how they feel. But I guess he does have to go to court now, July the 2nd, which is in a couple days, which will be in like 2 days. And that's when he's going to, I guess, plead guilty to the four counts and the count of burglary. So all counts that were on the docket, he's pleading guilty to. In my opinion, I think that he saw the writing on the wall. We're getting down to, trial, right? If we have a month and a half. He has a month and a half. He's been sitting, if you think about it, he's been sitting in that jail cell by himself for 2.5 years, not really having to, like, deal with what he's done. He's been sheltered, he's been protected, he's been everything, right? Well, what he just did was, my opinion, probably signed his death warrant, because now he's going to go before a judge and he's going to plead guilty to all these charges. He's going to plead guilty to going into someone's home uninvited and taking their lives brutally. And then he had to have had something, in my opinion, to even have that even looked at, right? Prosecution ain't going to look at you if you say, if you give me a plea deal, like, I'll plead guilty, and, like, they're going to want something. They're going to want something tangible. So maybe he did bury the murder weapon, right? Maybe he could give that to them. Maybe there's something that he still has a hold of that he can, give to the prosecution in, like, good faith or whatever. I would think that you would need to do that, right? You can't just say, yeah, I'll just say I'm guilty. Like, I would think you'd have to prove that, right? I would think so. But it says here, the family of Xana Kernodle is livid over the plea deal offer to accused murderer Bryan Kohberger, and the prosecutors, they had better not dare go through with it. Kim Kernodle, Xana's aunt, who was furious, she was in tears, tells TMZ prosecutors floated the idea of a plea deal a few days ago, and the family made it clear, no way. So just a few days ago. Oh, wow. When we spoke with Kim, she was on a conference call with prosecutors. She says prosecutors told her the defense approached the prosecutors with a plea deal, and the prosecution went along to spare the families the pain of a trial. Kim says that's ridiculous because at least two of the families, hers and the Gonzalez family, wanted Kohberger to face a jury. Kim says prosecutors were especially concerned that the families would have to see the gruesome crime scene photos of their loved ones, but she says, we know the graphics. They were not trying to spare us. And they knew, Steve even said that. He was like, I know that there's some days I won't be able to be in court. Like, I remember him specifically saying that. And I referred that to when they were going to show crime scene photos of his daughter. I mean, even Ethan's family was on board with going to trial, right? Like, it's weird. This is so weird to me. Like, what happened? We're gonna review what happened over the last few days. Kim also says when your family got a call from prosecutors a few days ago about a deal, they were vague. Prosecutors never mentioned taking the death penalty off the table. Wow. What's especially puzzling, Kim says prosecutors told her there was enough evidence to secure a guilty verdict. Well, I would think there would be. As we reported under the deal, Kohberger will plead guilty to 4 counts of murder, and in return, prosecutors will take the death penalty off the table. Prosecutors will recommend life in prison without the possibility of parole. A hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, and presumably that's when prosecutors and Kohberger will ask the judge to approve the plea deal. So, okay. Prosecutors and Kohberger, okay. So that's when they'll ask the judge. I hope this judge says no. Nah, I hope it says, nah, I want to go. I want to go to court. I want to. I already took my time off. You know, like, we're going to go. Kim says she wants the judge to delay making a decision so the families can figure out their next move. I mean, you keep taking stuff from these families like this. This is fucked up. This is wrong. This is really wrong. You took their preliminary hearing. They were waiting for that. Then they're waiting for him to say if he's guilty or not guilty. He sits silent. He doesn't even stand up and recognize the court or say your honor. So they get gypped out of that. I mean, these families have gotten really messed. I mean, they've gotten. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for these families. These families didn't deserve this to begin with, and then to have to live with this. You know that they would rather know than not know. And if there's families that don't want to know, don't go to the trial. I know the judge never usually denies pleas, but, you know, it would be cool if he did. That's... And then let me actually refresh this because I think it's more than 10 minutes ago. That was 10 minutes when I looked at it. An hour ago now. It says, it's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all of your love and support. Look at Emily. Kohberger took a plea deal. Like, no shit, Sherlock. And like, but see, June 18th, what? So 12 days ago, Judge Hippler saying likely going to be going to trial. That was the day that Ann wanted the continuance. And he said he would have a short ordered document for us. We never got that. Did we? Yeah, we did. We got the document. We read it the other day. I forgot we did get it. Now let me check to see if there's anything over there on the state of Idaho. And then we'll keep on going down the list. Is there another one? This one? I think there might be another video. Wow, News Nation, you guys ain't messing around. Okay, no, there's just one. So this is the newest filing, and as of today, there's just these orders sealing the juror questionnaire, and so that's the only 2 documents that I still see listed on there. Just kind of like court's going ahead as usual. So apparently, you know, we won't know anything until the 2nd officially, because that's when the judge will either deny or accept the plea deal. Now, I wonder if the family members, or like if the family members could get like people, I don't know, like a petition. I know that sounds stupid, but like if they had so many people collectively wanting to see this person, like, go on trial. It just sucks. I don't even care really about myself as much as I care. These family members deserve that, to see justice full. I mean, they had to pick up their kids' items wearing headlamps in a warehouse, and it was all put together. Nobody's things were separated. So Kaylee was getting, Maddie's things and Xana's things. And it was like, they've been through a lot. And for them to take the court, like the trial, I feel like that was like maybe Kohberger's little piece of something he could last minute to do to the family members, really to get like to stick it to them. I don't know. Because I did think that if they offered him a plea, I've said that a lot, that I thought that he would take life in prison over the death penalty if they offered it to him. I just didn't think that they were going to offer it to him at this point. But, So this is where I saw like some of the pleas. And this is Idaho Criminal Rule 11. So it just says, this is like the alternatives, I think. I think the one that we wanted was down here, but we can read through them. Okay. But it says alternatives in general. A defendant may plead guilty or not guilty if a defendant refuses to plead, or if a defendant cooperation fails to appear, the court must direct the entry of a plea of not guilty. See, now right there, if they would have just took that and said, we're just going to start making you plead guilty if you stand silent, then we wouldn't even be here today. I'm being sarcastic. Constitutional pleas, with the approval of the court and the consent of the prosecuting attorney, a defendant may enter a constitutional plea of guilty, reserving in writing the right on appeal from the judgment to review any specified adverse ruling. If the defendant prevails on appeal, the defendant must be allowed to withdraw defendant's plea. I don't think that's offered because he's not allowed to appeal. That's part of the stipulations. That's what we're hearing anyway. So inadmissibility of pleas, offers of pleas, and related statements. The admissibility of pleas, offers of pleas, and related statements is governed by Rule 410 of the Idaho Rules of Evidence. Okay. Acceptance of plea of guilty. Before a plea of guilty is accepted, the record of the entire proceedings, including reasonable interference, must show the voluntariness of the plea, that the defendant was informed of the consequences of the plea, including minimum and maximum punishments and other direct consequences that may apply, that the defendant was advised that by pleading guilty, the defendant would waive the right against compulsory self-incrimination, the right to trial by jury, and the right to confront witnesses against the defendant. For that the defendant was informed of the nature of the charge against the defendant and whether any promises have been made to the defendant or whether the plea is a result of any plea bargaining agreement, and if so, the nature of the agreement, and that the defendant was informed that the court is not bound by any promises or recommendations from either party as to punishment. That one sounds like that's what's going to happen. Other advisories on acceptance of plea. The district judge must, prior to entry of a guilty plea or the making of factual admissions during a plea discussion, inform the defendant of the following. The court must inform all defendants that if a defendant is not a citizen of the United States, the entry of a plea or making of factual admissions could have consequences of deportation or removal, inability to obtain legal status in the United States, or denial of an application for United States citizenship. Well, that doesn't really apply to him. If the defendant is pleading guilty to any offense requiring registration, he's not registered. He won't need a offender list. If the defendant is waiving the right to appeal, maybe this, or other post-conviction proceedings as part of a guilty plea, which he would, and the court is aware of this waiver, the court must ask the defendant if defendant is aware of the waiver of appeal or other proceedings. They have a lot of different pleas. So then we've got, I read this one. Okay. Plea agreement procedure. In general, the prosecuting attorney and the attorney for the defendant or the defendant, when acting without an attorney, may discuss an agreement that may include a waiver of the defendant's right to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, and that on entering of the plea of guilty to the charge offense or to a lesser or related offense, the prosecuting attorney will do any of the following. Move for dismissal of other charges, which I think that they said that he's going to have to plead guilty to all of them. So like sometimes they'll do, like if you do like a plea deal, like, you'll plead guilty to 4 counts of, murder, but take the burglary off, like something like that. But he's not going to get that. So making a recommendation, or I think, agree that a specific sentence is the appropriate deposition of the case, or agree to any other deposition of the case. The court may participate in this discussion. I wonder if they have like a proffer there. If in the state of Idaho, if that's like a like a proffer agreement, if they have that. Hey, Delana. Me too. Mega moment. I think that, man, I feel bad for these family members. They should have a say. I mean, I know that they technically they don't, but usually the investigators keep the family members up to date on stuff that's going on. And we haven't really seen that in this case. We've heard from family members that have said that. And I'm going to take their word for it, It's just it's sad. So then it says rejection of a plea agreement. Okay, acceptance of a plea agreement. If the court accepts the plea agreement, the court must inform the defendant that it will be bound by the terms of the plea agreement to the final disposition of the case. And then it says rejection of a plea agreement. If the court rejects the plea agreement, the court must on the record inform the parties of the rejection, advise the defendant personally in open court, or on a showing of good cause in camera that the court is not bound by the plea agreement, afford the defendant the opportunity to withdraw the defendant's plea, and advise the defendant that if the defendant persists in the guilty plea, the deposition of the case may be less favorable to the defendant than the terms of a plea agreement. Okay, well, you're in a lot of trouble, Kohberger. Now, what do you think his parents are thinking right now? Like, oh, man. Those are going to be some jail calls I can't wait to get. I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't. I can't wait to get them. I want to hear him say. I wonder if he like called his parents and was like, "I did it," or did they know way before now? I think that he's been kind of just riding this whole thing like I'm innocent up until like the last hearing. I think he kind of was like, "Ooh, I can only bullshit my way out of this for so long." I mean, really, because Anne was sticking by his side like no matter what. And in her favor, I will say she did win in that aspect. She kept her client off death row. Now, what's going to happen is he's going to go into general population instead of being segregated to his own little room. And they be wilding out in general population. I think it's going to be a culture shock for him. I think it's going to be a total culture shock for this guy. I really do. Let me see if we can open this up in another link and play it. Oh, they got Ashley Bamfield on here. I saw her on Twitter earlier. She's like, I'll be in early tonight. She's usually on at like 10, isn't she? Okay. So we'll play this video and we'll see what they say.
I want to bring in Ashley Banfield, host of Banfield right here on News Nation. Ashley, you've covered this story also from the very start. The families are in shock. Nobody seems to have seen this coming. Are you as shocked as everybody else watching this?
Yes, I am not only in shock, I think I share with Bryan a bit of sadness as well, because Elizabeth, you've done this job long enough to know that There's always two sides of a courtroom, and one side will be unhappy. It doesn't mean that justice doesn't prevail. This is a different kind of justice. It doesn't feel like justice for a lot of people. Sure as hell doesn't feel like justice for Steve Gonzalez and his family, Kaylee's family. The other families, they weren't all in unison on the death penalty being mandatory in order to feel whole again. They'll never feel whole. Many of them didn't care at this point because they weren't getting their kids back. So it's really hard on the Gonzalez family because they did not want this. And families matter. Prosecutors take into account what victims' families want and don't want. Chris Watts' family's victims' family members said, okay, take death off the table. Let him plead guilty. Let him go behind bars for the rest of his life with no opportunity for parole and no opportunity for an appeal.
Amen.
And we're fine with it. But these families didn't all feel the same way. This is why I'm processing a lot at this point, just to strictly covering the justice of it. I don't know that everybody's feeling justice.
Why, Ashley, would prosecutors make this offer, and why didn't they reach out to the families to tell them? It feels like, I mean, this is all breaking as we speak. The families are just now issuing these statements, but it sure sounds like they weren't consulted. At least the Gonzalez family says it doesn't sound like they were.
So that's a tough one. Everybody operates differently. Every state operates differently, and then every jurisdiction within a state operates differently. I know that they've been at loggerheads at times with the Gonzalez family because they've been very vocal, and there's been this gag order. It's possible that we don't know. I reached out to Steve Gonzalez a little while ago. He's clearly processing a lot, but I haven't heard whether it is true. In fact, he didn't have any consultation prior to this. I would have a hard time believing there was no consultation prior to the media, finding out about it. However, they don't have to. It is certainly difficult if they don't. I would think it really goes against sort of the moral code of victims' rights to not be consulted, at least. Not that your consultation and your opinion is going to carry. That doesn't always happen, but certainly consultation is very important in this day and age in almost every jurisdiction I've ever covered. But I have to get with Steve to find out whether, in fact, he had a consultation, it was unsatisfactory, and the prosecution went ahead anyway.
Bryan, the evidence against Bryan Kohberger is overwhelming, and that might be an understatement. There was a massive amount of physical evidence, of digital evidence that all pointed to one person and one person only, and that was Bryan Kohberger. It feels like to many, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, like a slam dunk case. Why wouldn't the prosecution want to bring this case?
They wouldn't. They
Okay,
would.
well, first of all, I have sources who have told me that the family members were consulted, but it was a last-minute consultation. They have been led to believe all along that this thing was going to trial. They have booked Airbnbs for 3 months. They've got plans. They've taken time off work. They were told we're going all the way with the death penalty, and they were not told until the very last minute, not long before I found out that this was going down. So there was a consultation, but it wasn't a very good consultation.
That doesn't sound like a consultation. That sounds like we're letting you know this is happening.
Yes, I think they pretended. This is my take. They pretended to consult, but they had their mind made up. There were
Obviously, they had their mind made up if Bryan Enton knew about it, right? Right after the family members knew, or right when they knew. That wasn't a consultation. That wasn't a think about this for a little bit and come back and consult with me. This was, we're doing this, and so sorry. Too bad, too sad for you. Really. The university moved on. They haven't even put anything where the Idaho poorhouse stood. I'm still pissed. I'm pissed about that. But that's neither here or there. But this is trial. As an American living in this country, we all have the right to see this trial play out. But these family members have so much invested in this. So much. Not only were their kids killed, but they have, like Bryan just said, they had to uproot their life for, 3 months because they thought they were going to be in Idaho, in this part of Idaho, in Boise, staying in Airbnbs and trying to get your family members there. And it's just, it's a mess. I'm sure it was a mess doing all that. and then helping people, like people were helping them fund it. I know that there was YouTube creators that were getting GoFundMe money just like thrown at them to go to the trial. I wonder if that will be repaid. I'm not sure. I would ask personally, but that's just me. Unless they're going to take a vacation there and show you all the cool spots in Idaho. I don't know. This is insane. Because what's going to happen is it's going to end up going
Negotiations
further out.
happening, I believe, with the defense since at least Friday. That's what I believe. In terms of why the prosecution may want to do this, you know how it works when you get on death row. Even if they got a conviction, even if then at sentencing the jury said yes to death unanimously, there are people in Idaho who have been on death row for 30 and 40 years. These families would have to go through all of this for decades. Some of the victims' parents may not even be alive when Bryan Kohberger is executed. They would have to be reminded during all of the appeals, et cetera, et cetera. Also, there are surviving victims. Let's not forget about the roommates who are going to have to testify and probably be, thrown under the bus by the defense and have to go through that. I'm sure that came into play with the prosecution. But I agree with Ashley. I am saddened for some of these family members because we have gotten to know them and they have been led along to believe that there was going to be a trial for 2.5 years and not given any information. There's been a gag order and, oh, you just wait for the big day. Just wait for the big day, the big show, the big trial. And now suddenly they've been told that's not happening.
Sorry, I had to cough. So I turned off my camera. Okay. So the Gonzalez family's pissed. Xana Coronel's family's pissed. Apparently, they didn't consult with them. They literally just said, this is what's going to happen. Now, I was looking at the dates because Bryan Enton said that he seems to think that maybe like Friday they knew. Well, I know that on Friday, they did drop some new documents. And oh, thank you, Willis, for gifting 5 memberships. It's very kind of you. Welcome in, everybody. Phoenix got 1, Lexi, Lori, Red Riding Hood, and Bombshell Chick got 1. Welcome in, guys. I was going to go to a certain tab to tell you guys something, but now I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. The things that came out. So on Friday, this is what I'm just thinking here. They dropped the memorandum, the redacted memorandum for the motion to continue, and also the offer of proof for the alternate perpetrators. So maybe that's kind of what just like broke everything, like she wasn't able to say, hey, this person did it, right? She wasn't going to be able to use the DNA from like inside the house or whatever. She could say stuff about it. She could question the cops, but she couldn't bring it into evidence, I guess, unless she got it tested to figure out whose it was. Then the motion to continue was denied. And I think that was like her Hail Mary. Like if she couldn't get it continued, I think she was just trying to keep him where he was for as long as she could. You know what I mean? Before he was like sent up, to the death penalty, wing of the Idaho State Prison Ward. I don't know exactly what the name of it's called, but I think that's what it is. But we went over all of that actually the last couple of days, which was crazy. Hey, Amy. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. My poor arm is itching like crazy. I've got bug bite. So if you see me itching, that's what it is. Okay. I know, me neither. Ashley just told me at the beginning of the live. I was like, don't really know what to say to you guys. I'm like, I feel like I've hit a brick wall. And this is what happened with Kylie Rodney's case. That's what I was telling you guys in the beginning. I was over there. I was trying to think, like, where was I standing? I was standing over there and I was in the doorway when I found out, like, when I just like done my last video or something, like, kind of just putting everything together. And then I felt like I hit like a brick wall. I was like, what do I do? Because I'm just so like when you're into, covering a case, and you research and do things like that, like I like to do, you know, you're constantly like thinking, what am I going to do for my show tonight? What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do the next day? What can we go through? What can I like teach you guys, or like, you know, like maybe something you guys didn't know before, like stuff like that. And then now it's kind of like, I feel like everything's just going to come to us. So I'm just like, you know, no, not at the federal, wasn't a federal crime. Like if it was state, like, well, crossing state lines to go, I guess go home. Hell, I don't know. Because I mean, that's state crime. I mean, because like usually federal's like when you like cross state lines, or like, you know, and that usually when it's like more federal. Yeah, Betsy. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try. I'm hoping it, like I told Ashley, because like we talked earlier, that I just hope that they don't try to like keep it for like and charge everybody on an arm and a leg like they did Stephen Stearns's file. I think that file was like $4,000. I'm like, I don't, you know, yeah, no, I don't think they'll bring any more charges on it, but I do think that in the proffer it will say, or if that's what they end up doing, like a proffer or whatever the agreement is, it'll say like he has to tell them certain things, like give certain details. If he retracts it, you know, something, or he lies and they, you know, they find out and they know he's lying, then the deal can be just taken right off the table. And that's the end of that. But this is just crazy to me. It looks like, I mean, by all accounts, it looks like that's just, I mean, I think Judge Hebler will probably accept it, especially if it's coming out, especially if it's going to be coming out of Ann Taylor's mouth. I think he's going to be like, yep. I mean, he probably doesn't want to have to deal with her, you know? I mean, baby girl, I had a feeling he was going to do this. I thought it would be a little closer to trial, but I guess we're getting pretty close. And I think that with all these last few things that have come out, like with, you know, the DoorDash witness, she's like kind of just popped out of nowhere. And I don't know if you guys got to see it, but I'll play it for you guys. Hunter, is it Emily? And his girlfriend, the ones that found the victims, did a segment on Good Morning America. I think they did it on like two different stations, maybe. Because it looks like Inside Edition right here, but it's the same one. So, but we'll watch this. I thought that this is what I was going to actually kind of go over tonight, but it just, everything else kind of happened. How did they not consult the families? I don't know. You would think as a decent human being, you would, when you left them in the dark with a lot. Like, you know, they were well aware that there were going to be days that they couldn't sit in trial. It was going to be way too hard for them. They, you know, I don't know. This is just like it's a bombshell, because I thought today we were just going to hear about, you know, the Pennsylvania subpoenas. Like they all went to court today for the subpoenas and stuff. And it was like, I think they were granted. Oh, actually, I'll double check as we're watching this or listening into this.
Turn now to the Idaho College murders case. The trial date is now set. This morning, close friends of the victims are telling their story.
This just came out this morning.
First time on GMA. Kana Whitworth sat down with him. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George, good morning to you. Hunter Johnson and Emily Allant were two of the first people to arrive at the King Road house that November morning. These are the friends who prompted the 911 call. Their actions described by other families as heroic, but for them, it was a morning that changed everything. And they're speaking out for the first time about what they want people to remember about their friends. It's not just about how they died, but about how they lived.
You know, you see the world in pure innocence, and that all gets ripped away from you in one phone call. That's just the day that changed it all.
This morning, for the first time, the best friends of Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle speaking out about that November day when they discovered Ethan, Xana, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan brutally murdered in an off-campus home.
I don't think anyone expects anything like that ever in their life to happen.
Hunter Johnson and his girlfriend Emily Allant now telling their story in a new Prime Video docu-series, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders.
We were a big group of friends. Why would you target those four?
Emily says she and Xana were inseparable.
We were attached at the hip probably the first day that we met. Yeah, we just clicked immediately. We were same personalities, I feel like.
I love it when people talk about Ethan and Xana sort of being like male and female versions of each other.
Oh, it's very much true. They were the same person.
Hunter and Emily say the fall weekend started like any other with a big football game. The friends snapping this photo that Saturday.
It was a normal weekend for us, just hanging out with our friends.
The next morning, Emily says Dylan, one of the surviving roommates, called her concerned, asking her and Hunter to come over.
In the documentary, you tell the story of really not feeling alarmed when Dylan called you.
I joked around with her on the phone. You know, it's something you would never expect.
It's November, so I had shorts on, slides on. Like, I wasn't prepared to obviously stay there. I was just going over to check, see what's going on. I would say as soon as you get there, you know something's wrong.
Hunter was the first person to arrive to King Road to discover what happened. Their friend Josie Louderin, who was also there, describing the moments in the docuseries.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right. Like, you could feel it almost. Hunter was ahead of me and Emily and immediately was pushed out. And Hunter was like, get out, somebody call 911.
You hear Hunter on the 911 call telling the girls there was an unconscious person protecting them from the graphic details.
Is she breathing?
No.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
Truly, in my heart, I believe God was with me that day, and he gave me the strength to get through that day.
As authorities entered the home, the friends say they were told to sit outside, waiting for hours with little information.
We watched the ambulance come and we watched them immediately leave. So I think that was a hard part for sure.
That second you realize there's no one to be saved.
Right.
That's terrifying.
Their best friends inexplicably murdered. Not knowing who was responsible or why, they feared for their own safety.
We just left to get away, be safe.
Yeah.
Is our
You didn't
mindset.
feel safe?
No.
In the nearly 7 weeks it took police to arrest a suspect, Emily, Hunter, and surviving roommates Dylan and Bethany became the targets of online sleuths and social media attacks.
Lots of threats, people saying I should confess to murdering them. I felt like I was less than a person in that point in my life.
On December 30th, 2022, police arrested then 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger. To Emily and Hunter, he was a complete stranger. The murder trial set to begin in August. His attorneys say he's innocent.
Does justice lie in a conviction?
I don't think there's going to ever be any justice.
I mean, yeah, we can have justice for the conviction of it, but I don't get to still hang out with Ethan. So
they still don't get to.
They don't have a son. They don't have a daughter anymore.
They say they hope people remember who their friends were beyond the headlines.
Who they are as people is so much more than the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be known as the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be attached to, you know, the name of who did that to them. And I just think that, you know, hopefully one day that they're just seen as who they are and not what happened to them.
Yeah, Emily went on to tell me they are so much more than their last day. Now, they joined Ethan's family to speak in this docu-series, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, which premieres July 11th on Prime Video. Also, keep in mind, guys, we're closely monitoring a Pennsylvania court today where several potential witnesses for the defense will learn if they need to testify in Idaho when this trial is set to start in August.
I think there was another one that she was in, like another episode, but I think I already told you guys about it. It was just her talking about the scheduling order for July 2nd. Wow, it is raining out there. I can like see through my blinds a little bit. Wow. Shoot, it is raining. It's not a good day. Nancy Grace had something to say. She had only 4 minutes of something to say. I'm like, she really in that Diddy case. You wait till she gets back over there, though, to bitch about Bryan Kohberger, because she will. She'll make her rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if she stayed up all night just to make an episode. But I figured I'd play the 4-minute snippet that she did put in here, because I thought If it's her, I don't know if it's her talking or if it's someone else. We'll see. We'll see who it is.
Crime Alert, hourly update, breaking crime news now.
I'm Jennifer Gould.
Oh,
In a
Jennifer
stunning development that sent shockwaves across the nation, Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of savagely stabbing 4 University of Idaho students in November of 2022, has accepted a plea deal that spares him from the death penalty. The agreement ensures the former criminology PhD student will spend the rest of his life behind bars without any possibility of parole. Kohberger, 30, was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in the brutal deaths of Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Xander Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. The 4 students were found with fatal stab wounds in their off-campus Moscow, Idaho rental home during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Investigators believe they were attacked between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., likely while sleeping, with no signs of sexual assault reported by the coroner. This dramatic plea deal comes just weeks before Kohberger's highly anticipated trial was set to begin on August 4th, with opening statements set for August 18th. The timing is particularly significant given recent setbacks for the defense. Judge Stephen Hippler recently dealt a critical blow to Kohberger's legal team, rejecting their alternate perpetrator theory, which attempted to implicate 4 other individuals. The judge dismissed the theory as, quote, wild speculation, end quote, emphasizing the complete lack of evidence connecting those individuals to the gruesome crime scene. Hippler also denied a defense request to delay the trial, despite claims of slow discovery and intense public scrutiny threatening a fair trial. Prosecutors have meticulously built a compelling case against Kohberger. Their evidence includes crucial DNA linking him directly to the crime scene, as well as chilling surveillance footage that captured a car matching his white Hyundai Elantra near the victim's home around the very time of the murders. A DoorDash driver who made a delivery to Kernodle's residence just hours before the horrific killings was prepared to testify, claiming she saw Kohberger nearby. Furthermore, surveillance data allegedly placed Kohberger's phone near the crime scene multiple times in the weeks leading up to the murders. The case has drawn immense national and international media attention since Kohberger's arrest at his parents' Pennsylvania home on December 30th, 2022, over a month after the killings. His defense, led by Ann Taylor, has faced numerous hurdles, including failed attempts to suppress the damning DNA evidence. This sudden plea deal marks a pivotal and shocking turn in one of Idaho's most high-profile and disturbing murder cases, providing a definitive end to the courtroom battle, but leaving lingering questions for some as to the motive. A court hearing for a change of plea will be held on Wednesday. For the latest crime and justice news, follow the Crime Alert Hourly Update on your favorite podcast app. With this Crime Alert, I'm Jennifer Gould.
Well, hello, Jennifer Gould. Don't even know her. I thought it was going to be Nancy. I should go over to Nancy's page. So actually, let me go to this really quick and see if, because I was going to go over to Court TV because they had some stuff playing. And this is their live. So let me see.
What convinced her
Howard
to change?
Bloom.
What convinced Ann Taylor to change? These are questions that remain to be discovered in the days ahead.
Yeah. Gray Hughes, I think this will erase all those doubts from the people who are saying, well, they really don't have the evidence.
He just don't have a hat on or that little visor thing he wears. He looks like a different person without it.
In the case, they have the evidence, and come July 2nd, they'll have a full confession, hopefully, on the record.
Yeah, the pro-burgers out there, they call them. Yeah, I mean, those people, I mean, it was just amazing. The evidence in the case, even when you start back from the probable cause document, I thought was so overwhelmingly strong. And it just got worse and worse and worse for Kohberger. There was never one piece of information that came out over these 2 years that sort of helped him in some way. Not even one shred of information. You know, and I'm actually in Moscow, Idaho. I was here to film a bunch of stuff, and I actually found a bunch of really interesting timing elements that totally match and fit up. And I was out flying a drone, and while I was flying a drone, one of my, the freak family, we call ourselves, one of them called and said, hey, there's a plea deal. And I just couldn't really believe it because, I've talked with Steve Gonzalez, and none of the family members are for that. I mean, they want to do this. So you just sort of wonder, how were they left out of this process, and why was this deal even made? It doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand for the defendant because
in my opinion, I think he's going to give him the why. I think he's going to give him something like the why, the how. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it's going to be. In my humble opinion, he's going to have to give him something. Murder weapon. If you don't have that, he's going to give him something else.
the evidence is overwhelming to a certain extent, but then it comes down to personnel. You've got to hopefully be compelled to provide an allocation in court. Stuart Fillmore, that's always a big part of a guilty plea, is to have the defendant admit it, but give some specific facts about what he did in the case, and hopefully that happens here.
Yeah, the allocution is going to be really important to this, to really, give, I guess, closure. That word doesn't really fit in this, but it will resolve the case as best we can definitively if we get a full allocution from him. I actually have had a case where the defendant pled guilty, but really there wasn't an agreement for a full allocation, and it just, he just pled guilty, and so you're kind of left hanging. I think that should not be done in this case. In fact, this guilty plea should not go through unless there is a full allocution, a full accounting of the facts, why he did it, where's the knife, any loose ends should be tied up.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much the family knows some of the evidence in the case as well. Howard, let me ask you, do you expect that he will go quietly? And what I mean by going quietly is you have your day in court, you plead guilty, you're sentenced, and then you're done. You're done. Do you think that's who this guy is, or do you think we're going to hear from him and about him in the years to come?
I think in the years to come, there will be a tell-all book. I think no matter what he says in his allocution, I think is only going to be part of the story. I think down the road, once he misses the spotlight, once he feels sort of unfulfilled, he will need to tell more. And someone close to him will be given what he says is the whole story. Whether or not it'll be the truth, who knows? But I think he will want his day in the spotlight. I think what was important for him was not to try to get away with the crime, but he wanted recognition for the crime. And that's what he has now. And that will be gone in a few years, and then he'll want it back again.
That's true. I'm
already over.
Society moves on to a certain extent in cases, unless the defendant starts making some noise. Gray Hughes.
Tell us something we don't know.
I'm getting back to the families and the Gonzalez family many times along the way. How much do they know about the case? Do we know if they know any more facts than the public knows, or will the release of information be new to them as well?
Well, I would think out of the family members, I would think the Gonzalez's probably know more than others because they just doggedly go after and sort of try to find out as much information as they can. So they probably know more than the general public does.
They said they don't know anything.
I totally agree with Howard. I think that they need to, completely come forward, or I think it was the other guest, come forward and tell us the whole story. I think the prosecution should actually come up and almost give what their opening argument would have been. And hopefully all of the
That's all we
information.
want, Gray.
I don't know what the history of these types of cases are, but do they ever put out the documents that show us the information, or does it just get hidden away into the nebulae of documents somewhere we never get to see? Well, I want to know the facts of this case.
Exactly. It depends. You got to get everything's got to be unsealed, and then the requests have to be made for the documents. Let me ask you, Stuart, is there anything
I'll
that
be
you
on it,
believe
don't worry.
law enforcement will do to learn from this defendant once he's locked up through interviews or trying to get
Well,
into
that's
his
one
mind?
of the things that it's some. Yeah, that could be one of the things that if a positive does come out of this, that down the road, that maybe Kohberger would cooperate and talk and provide his motive, his means, and all those kind of things, so that future investigators can learn, and hopefully maybe something like this can never happen again.
All right, Stuart Fillmore, Gray Hughes. Gray Hughes Investigates. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got in Moscow, Gray. Thank you so much for your help tonight. Howard's going to stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this big breaking news tonight. The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students has gotten offered a deal and has accepted that deal and is expected in court on July 2nd.
Look at Jay walking into court all smug. Where you been, Jay? I wonder, is Ann Taylor ever going to look at the evidence? Are you going to look at it, Ann Taylor? Or are you just going to say, oh, I don't got to anymore? And is this why, Ann Taylor, you had all your documents ready for punishment phase, but you didn't have anything ready for like trial? Because I mean, curious minds want to know. Oh, I would wish more. I hope more creators come into the live tonight. I really would wish, because this is like, what the hell just happened? You know, like, I don't know. There's still a lot to go over. There's still a lot to like that's going to happen, but it's just it's weird to me. It's something. I don't know if it's all these little things that, not all these little things. These were big things, continuances were not granted. There were things that were going on. Alternate suspects couldn't do that. Maybe she finally was just like, Bryan, if you don't give me something better, then, you were out stargazing. Then what am I going to do to help you? Literally his defense was, I was out driving by myself between the hours of the murder and then some, and I just happened to turn my phone off. The one and only time. And I left my DNA there. It's like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I think I've done both. And now I hope that, and I hope that I hope it gets to come out, because I was watching this, or I saw the title of this and I was like, what? So I'm going to go over to News Nation, because they just put this out 33 minutes ago. Oh, Jennifer Coffendorfer. I don't want to hear from her, but let's hear what they have to say, because it said something like, why Bryan Kohberger won't have to tell the victims' families what happened.
You, because you're the only person here who wasn't surprised.
I'm not.
You thought this was going to happen.
Well, think about all the wagons that were circling Kohberger. The fact that the DNA of the ninth sheep was coming in, there was a motion to suppress. The fact that they had made a motion to this alternate perpetrators theory, that was the most devastating blow, the most recent devastating blow.
The judge just threw that out last week.
Exactly, because the defense had identified 4 individuals. Thankfully, the judge redacted their names and said this would create such chaos for these jurors, because they had already complied with an investigation behind the scenes with law enforcement. They took the DNA swabs of each of them. They were cleared. No DNA evidence whatsoever was found in the crime scene.
Why on earth did Bryan Kohberger think he could come into court and have his attorneys implicate 4 men whose DNA wasn't found at the crime scene and who had alibis and were cleared? I don't understand why he even thought that was possible.
That's the $1 million question. We're dealing with the mind that thinks he is better and above all else. If we ever find out the reasons behind these killings, and we suspect it's like some sort of fantasy in his mind, having been a criminal law student, that somehow he would to actually perpetrate the perfect crime and get away with it, then he thinks he's smarter than his lawyers. But if the lawyers were really looking at this, and they were fighting for his life, they were trying everything conceivable, including postponing the trial. They were thinking they were going to continue to develop the defense. But at this point, there was no defense. They couldn't even bring in an alibi because in Idaho law, it requires the alibi to be substantiated by a witness, a testimony that comes in and says, I saw
Bryan
Kohberger
Kohberger driving
around and actually pinpoint, give the times that actually support the alibi. Without that supporting witness, you cannot even bring an alibi into
Well,
this,
technically, he had the DoorDash driver.
Jennifer, you say this is actually a big win for Bryan Kohberger. Why?
It's a huge win because the evidence was so strong against him. And sadly, I think it's an empty feeling for those families. It really is, Elizabeth, because they're looking at it saying, look at the powerful evidence.
I
This
don't
is what
agree
we
with
call in
that.
the FBI a whale in the bucket. That's how easy this case was.
This guy right here, this guy, he doesn't want to be in general population. Do you think that he's going to be serving up honey buns, switching out commissary with the other inmates? Does he look like he wants to be messed with? No. That's why he's been in the freaking little jail, secluded by himself for the last 2+ years. He ain't gonna like it. He is not gonna like it in general population. You may get commissary and you may get more showers, but buddy, you don't look like a people person.
Would have been to try from the standpoint of evidence. And now
Wish I could block her. I think her cell phone just went off. If I hear her cell phone going off during the Bryan Kohberger she's kick her off the panel.
A whale in the bucket. That's how easy this case would have been to try from the standpoint of evidence. And now
you know what song that is? Rolling Stones. Do we need to go back and hear the first 3 chords again? Wow. I think that's really what it was. I think that's it. I can't get no satisfaction. Tell me if that ain't it. We're gonna I'm listening to the background now.
Case would have been to try from the standpoint of evidence. And now
I think it is. I think I'm right.
he gets
I'm gonna write her.
to spend the rest
Gotta
of his
get her on
life in
Twitter.
prison instead of possibly getting the death penalty.
And Bryan, you've got, do we know if these families,
Thank you, Megan Mama.
we know from one of the families that they are absolutely devastated and shocked at the plea deal, the Gonzalez family. Will any of them be in court on Wednesday when this is formalized?
Oh, they should all be there.
I suspect that they will be there. I suspect most of the families will be there because this is such a pivotal moment. I'll tell you, there's one family member who I was just talking to before I came on your show who was very emotional and said she feels like all of the power has been given back to Bryan Kohberger.
Yep,
That's how
me
she
too.
feels. She says they were told at the last minute that they were going to present this plea deal to him, and then he got the power and he got to make the decision of whether he was going to take it or whether he wanted to go to trial. And I think that is what is bothering some of the family members so much. They've tried to work through all of this with counseling and sort of like get their power back.
Yeah.
And now they feel like in the end, he had all the power, which does make sense when you think about their perspective on that.
It does.
No, it makes complete sense. Mercedes,
I mean, he's literally gotten everything he's wanted through this trial. Oh, you need more time? Okay, we won't have a preliminary hearing. Oh, you want to wear what you want to wear while you're in the courtroom? Okay, we will let you wear whatever you want to wear. Don't want the cops to touch you when you're walking in? We won't touch you. Don't let us have any cameras moving around in there because we might zoom in on Kohberger's fly. Nobody was looking at that, by the way. Nobody was. You know, I mean, he's had it rough. And then Jay Logston was looking at his booty too.
We're talking before the break about the possibility or the impossibility now with this plea deal that these families will ever get the answers as to why. Why did you do this? Why
They should get
you
that.
break into this home and slaughter these 4 amazing, bright young adults with their entire lives ahead of them?
I'm going to pause that. If these family members do not get the why and the how and all of the things, I'll be the first creator to say we will be starting a petition over here. We'll be doing something because that would be ridiculous. That would be just ridiculous. They waited. They deserve to know what happened to their loved ones. And they know that he knows what happened. Obviously, he said, I want to take a plea deal. That means, AKA, I'm guilty. Don't let anyone twist that. That's what that means.
Them why? Well, they might
They
not
should
ever
get
get
the
the
why.
answer to that. The allocution that we were discussing doesn't force somebody to do that.
Exactly, it doesn't. I mean, what the allocution is generally is you've accepted this plea, you
Oh, great.
understand that you're going to be in prison for life.
It's not an explanation
No
as to what
explanation.
happened or-
No, it's a part of the plea. So part of the plea is just understanding what he has actually pled guilty to, understanding that he will spend the rest of his days in prison, and understanding that
We
he has
did read
no
that.
right to appeal. That's what a general allocution is. Unless there's some sort of agreement
What if
between
There has to
the
be.
say to the
prosecution and the defense.
prosecutors, we want you to force him to explain this in court? Can they do that?
I'm sure they've already asked him that, because now that they know that the die is cast and that they have no ability to change what's already happened, that the plea's been accepted, that we're going to go into this victim impact statement. By the way, it's going to be gut-wrenching because you're going to
Mhm.
hear from these parents whose children
Mhm.
were slaughtered, and they're going to continue to live the nightmare, not knowing why their children were slaughtered. All they know is that this man's life is spared and their children are dead.
Thank you for watching. Damn you, Cuomo. Scared the right out of me. Yeah. say, can I get my money back? Have a good night, Ashley. Go cuddle with Dale. It's been a rough day. Like, it literally just happened 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, and I feel like this, like, I don't like change at all in my schedule. I don't like change. And this has put a wrench in my whole night, Kohberger. And I do feel like that he got a little bit of the power back, right? He can now do, like I said, that he was allowed to accept the plea or whatever. I think that his lawyers went to the prosecution. But I mean, we don't know for sure, you know. Hey, Felicia. I don't think they'll seal anything. I think that everything will come out. I think it might be redacted. But I do think that the judge will let everything kind of come out. Now, I don't know, on the 2nd, so on July 2nd, in a couple of days, what will happen, and we'll stream it. I'm sure it'll be the thing to be streamed that day. But we'll stream it, and he's basically going to go in front of the judge, and he's going to change his plea. And the judge is going to ask, as far as we know, we don't know if he has to say anything like about what the crime, about the crime, but he may read off the charges and have him plead guilty to each one. And then he'll say, do you know what the charges are against you? Are you aware of the punishment that's against you for, if found guilty of these charges? And he will say, yeah. And then, they'll give him his punishment for life sentences. And then I think was like 10 or 15 years, up to 10 or 15 years for the burglary. So I'm sure they'll probably give him the maximum on the burglary as well. Sentencing will be later. Okay. So sentencing later. I wasn't sure how they did it in Idaho. I know in Utah, you don't even know how many years they're sentenced to. They'll give you like an estimate. It's like, what the hell? Like Ruby Frankie, that case is weird. Yeah, I want to hear him say that he's guilty. I want them to read off each name, and I would like for the families to at least get to hear that part. I think that they deserve to know everything that happened and the why. And I think that if they don't do that, then that's really, really, really messed up. That's really messed up. He doesn't have to admit he doesn't have to, well, he does have to admit that he's guilty of the 4 murders and the burglary for the offer to, to stick, to have the offer. But in my opinion, you would think that he would have to bring something to the table. Like, okay, yeah, I did this, but this is like how I did it or why I did it. Like to show the prosecution like that, Like I guess they know they got the right guy. They know their evidence. We don't know. Hey, Bill. Oh, well, we will fly me to Moscow, or not Moscow. I guess I'm going to be Moscow, but it'd be Boise, and I'll break into the records. Don't tell anybody now. I'll wear this because it's all black and it's like a one piece. That's what I'll do. I'll get the records. It's good to see you, Bill. Yeah, 4 life sentences to be consecutively. Yep. He'll come out in a pine box. Basically, that's what's going to happen. Now, to all the women that, spent the last 2.5 years defending Bryan Kohberger, you probably shouldn't date for a while. You're not very good at knowing which men to choose. Well, welcome back, Bill. I can't believe this. This is insanity. Look at Cuomo's face. I have him up here. Let me see if did they go back to. Okay, let's see where we're at. I was going to go over to the old Twitter. It said that. That's what I wanted to tell Ashley if she's listening. Vinnie Politan was supposed to be on here with Joseph Scott Morgan, but I didn't see him. I don't even know if Kohberger is trending. Is he not even trending? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? I don't think he is. He's not. Sports are trending on my Twitter feed. Oh, okay. Let's see. What else? Wow, yeah, he's not even. That's crazy. Oh, look at this. I guess this guy is this convicted killer of a 15-year-old junior Guzman, maybe, Velez, who showed no remorse, found dead in New York prison. Okay, let's see. I'm going to type in his name. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. See if there's anything else out there that we haven't talked about. But he will go have a hearing on the 2nd. I was looking at the scheduling orders, but okay. Well, maybe we'll go over that. I was going to see if there's anything else that came out, but I don't think anything else did. So they don't have it on here yet. Like the hearing isn't scheduled, so I'm not sure what time. I'm assuming sometime in the morning. Yeah, where's William? Yeah. Oh, well, let's go see. Let's go take a little visit down memory lane. I don't think I won't play his video on my video. That'd be funny. Oh, he did change his picture, though. It's very dark. Hey, William, we got a question for you, buddy. We know that YouTube didn't take your channel down because if they did, they would take your community tab down. But that's okay. Did you hear what happened? Apparently, he called Jules fat. She's on the fat crew now, like me and all the other creators that were factual. But yeah, I guess he called her that. She wasn't very happy. But it doesn't look like anyone's commented in a while because I think that was like the same amount of comments last time when because I come over here and I look, I'll be like, oh, who be commenting? Let's see. Go by newest. Oh, 5 days ago. Should we leave a comment? Say, can you tell us how to send Bryan we want a refund. I don't know. I want a refund for the last 3 years. Well, 2.5. Because he could have said this 2 years ago. He just wasted all of our time. Didn't waste my time. He didn't waste your time. I don't think it was a waste of time. I think what he did was not good, but I don't think covering it was a waste of time. Not at all. But I do think people like this are. Look at this. YouTube as bad as mainstream media trying to silence anyone with an alternative narrative to what law enforcement wants to spin. Luckily, harsh reality brought us the video before it was removed. What's everyone saying, I wonder? Force feed them bacon sandwiches. Like the Wade wives now, yeah. I was gonna ask you guys, do you guys like what do you guys watch other than like Idaho 4? Because we have to figure out what we're gonna be talking about. Which I have lots of stuff, you know, but we can talk about which we'll still be talking about Idaho 4 because of obviously everything that's going on. We'll be on this kick for still a minute. But I wanted to do anyway. I have like case updates I want to do with you guys a couple nights. And what else? I had a few other tabs opened too. I think I haven't minimized, but we will have plenty of cases to cover. I know. Yeah, I still have Bill's thing up there. He's probably like, take that down, Danya. Oh, thanks, Otto. I will. Oh, that's sad. Oh, is it going to make me cry? Oh, wow. This is long. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. We're going to share the tab. Aubrey was unable to attend the meeting with prosecutors to beg for additional concessions to guarantee certainty in this case. We are all in awe of how she was able to perfectly articulate the following, especially at only 18 years old. We are so proud of her. So I guess this is a letter from Aubrey. Hello, my name is Aubrey Gonzalez, and I am the youngest member of the Gonzalez family. Though I am unable to be there in person, I refuse to stay silent about a situation that should never have required this kind of gathering in the first place. What the families of Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana have endured over the last 2 years, two year and a half is beyond comprehension. From the constant delays to the relocation of proceedings, making it harder for loved ones to attend, the justice system has placed heavy burdens on those already carrying unimaginable grief. Through it all, we have tried to hold on to hope. We believed in the process. We've had faith in the system. But at this point, it is impossible not to acknowledge the truth. The system has failed these 4 innocent victims and their families. These are not just names or headlines. Ethan Chapin, Kayla Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, and Xana Kernodle were beautiful human beings who touched countless lives. They are not just the Idaho 4. Sorry. That's really sad. That's really freaking sad. They're not just the Idaho 4. They were sons, daughters, siblings, and friends, real people with real dreams. They deserve to be remembered for who they were in life, not only for the tragedy of their deaths. But before that can truly happen, they deserve justice, nothing less. The introduction of this plea deal was just weeks before the scheduled trial is both shocking and cruel. Had this proposal came a year and a half ago, the families could have had time to process, discuss, and potentially come to terms with the idea of a life sentence, however difficult that may be. We could have had the time to understand it, prepare for it emotionally, and perhaps even to find some degree of peace. But now, with mere weeks left, we are being asked to absorb and respond to life-altering decisions with no room to breathe. Bryan Kohberger facing a life in prison means he will still get to speak, form relationships, and engage with the world. Meanwhile, our loved ones have been silenced forever. That reality stings more deeply when it feels like the system is protecting his future more than honoring the victim's past. The justice system was created to serve and protect, not to re-traumatize grieving families, and yet time and time again we find ourselves blindsided, unheard, and unsupported. This last minute plea deal feels like less of an act of justice and more like an afterthought. We are not asking for vengeance. We are asking for accountability. We are asking for dignity for our loved ones. And we are pleading for a justice system that truly lives up to its name. Wow. Well, she got me. I hope that Hibbler rejects this. I gotta blow my nose. Sorry, guys. Man, that really got me. I thought I would cry like afterwards. Like sitting, I thought I would, cry like by myself. But I guess that was actually fitting. That's fitting for me. That's fitting for me. Because I've cried a lot through this case. So, it's just so sad because they're not. It's so sad. Did you hear that thunder? Wow, it's still going. What do they say? That's like God bowling when it thunders. Maybe that's them up there bowling, but it was loud. It was very loud. Huh. I hate this for the families, and I hate this that Bryan gets this option, right? That this option was even an option. Xana's trending. Wow. Probably because her family's pissed. But yeah. Oh, man. I'll have to make a video for all of them, but it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. Let me see what else I can find if there's anything else out here. It's called bowling. Is that what? Yeah, I thought I heard that before. I think my mom told me that as a kid, or when I went to I was in I don't know if it's like in other churches, but it was called Awanas, and you went and you would learn Bible verses. I'm not like a huge spiritual person, but when I was little, I loved to win. I was such a competitive person. I still am very competitive, but you could do relay races. And then if you learned Bible verses, they'd give you candy and stuff. And I just remember always learning the verses so I could get the candy. Cause so I'm pretty good at the Bible verses. I mean, really, I used to be really good. They'd give you little pins. The defense asked for the deal a week ago. I figured it was the defense. I figure it was, but yeah, I hope he rejects it. Wouldn't that be something if he did reject it? I mean, because you usually don't hear of judges, rejecting it. What? Did you just wake up? She's back there without her collar on. It looks so weird. I have them washing. Yeah, that's what I think. That's when they probably told me when I was a kid. My mom probably told me that. Lightning taking pictures of us. Oh, I didn't even think about that, Jog. Oh, that's cute. I never thought about that. That would have made me probably less scared as a kid. I love storms though. I've never been scared of storms. Even when we had a tornado, we had 8 tornadoes touch down here, which I slept through that. I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I did that. But when I was a kid, a teenager, I remember we'd always have to go into the hallway because we didn't have a basement. We had a crawl space, I guess, if things got serious, but we'd always go in the hallway and I'm like, this is stupid. I don't know, Teresa. I don't think he did. But I am going to jump off here, I think. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I will have some stuff later on, but I'll keep my eye out on stuff. And then we'll go over the filings and stuff tomorrow. I don't think that there's anything in there that's like groundbreaking. They're just summoning them for court, and it just says what day that they're going to be needed on. So we'll go through those, and then I might come on maybe, I don't know if I'll come on sometime during the day. Must have been the box that we have. What's he doing out there? I forgot it's only 9:05. It's so weird. It's like weird, not like just now, coming on or whatever. But I do have a doctor's appointment in the morning. That's why I wanted to come on earlier anyway. I always try to come on earlier if I have to go. If I don't have to go there, it's just here. But you want to look nice when you go to the doctor. So I always like to get up special early, extra early, and make sure it looks nice. And then I usually just use this setup, which is really funny because I'm just like, don't mind it. Right, Teresa, that's what I said. I wish he would have done this years ago. And I will make sure that I FOIA everything. We will get anything that we can get in this case. We will dig into it all because that's what we've been doing for this long. I'll try to get eventually, like as the court proceed and everything, and everything kind of settles, not settles down, but like, court's over and stuff. Then maybe we could start even receiving like jail calls and stuff that he was doing for the last 2 years. I would like to know what he's been talking about. Nope, I think I'm going to stay up for the night. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the rest of the night off. Is anybody on? So I don't even know what's going on. I don't even have a YouTube tab open. Usually I do. I'm sure that there was a lot of people, talking about this. So I don't know if everybody's off now or not. I've been watching the weirdest stuff lately. I'll be telling you what. Oh, Gray, he's live right now. Look at him with his hat off. Gray, take the visor off. Keep the visor off. Don't wear the visor. Don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. He must have left it at home on accident. That was God. That was God telling you that. He's going to come in here and rip me a new one. Watch. I'm just kidding. No, I think he does he looks different. He looks nice without the visor, which I don't care with the visor, but he does. He looks just more professional or something. I don't know. Who's this guy? You know what I do appreciate about this, though? I do appreciate that all the Karen Reed supporters, no offense to them, like people like support Karen Reed or, all that. But there's a lot of people that were in that camp. Not all of you, just a small percentage of you were wanting to bring that energy to the Kohberger trial and say he was not guilty and all this and that. And so I'm glad in that aspect that it was kind of cut down and cut out. Like that part's kind of going to be cut off. Hopefully. But it probably won't. And I'll probably come on tomorrow yelling that people are, talking mad crap. That's what I want to, I want to go over the Crystal Rogers case. I saw some stuff actually about that, yesterday. And I was like, oh, and I was going to get with Ashley because I know that Ashley's been digging deep into that case too. And I just talked to her earlier. I know she was in here. So that maybe we can get Ashley feeling better with the Crystal Rogers case because I know she's not feeling good either. We both, as soon as my phone rang, I told Vince, I was like, I gotta take this. I was like, it's Ashley. I was like, she's probably freaking out right now. I was like, I know, I surely am. Like Vincent wasn't. He was just, and I'm just sitting there like stunned. Like, what just happened? So let's see. Well, there are what's her name? Laura Lee. She's talking about Crystal Rogers' case right now. Don't go over, don't be leaving me though. Don't leave me yet. No, I'm just kidding. You can go over there if you want. She probably is doing a good, she's probably doing well. Now, psychic Reverend Donna Saravina, or whatever her name is, she's live too with about Bryan Kohberger. I don't know what she thinks, but. And then, oh yeah, everybody is live. Just like, I mean, just every creator, I guess, that's covered this case. And then, has anyone heard anything about Diddy? They're just still deliberating. Did you hear the thunder? So I'm about to say we might have just had some. Have a good night, Delana. Warflair, he's already on death row, so I think we'll keep him there. This is so sad, though. That is very sad. Man. Because they're not just the Idaho 4. They're not. But I mean, it's so sad because I feel like I need to change all my titles because I put Idaho 4 on like before all of my titles. But I don't think of them like that. I definitely don't. It's so I'm just glad that I'm glad in a way that they won't have to hear some of this stuff, but I hope that they get what they want. I hope that if more of the families are saying like they want the trial, I hope that the judge considers that or at least talks to them, and like off of camera, off of, no live feed and explains maybe to them like how this works or just is gentle with them. Because I feel like people are not being gentle with the victims' families at all. They're just like, oh, this is what we're doing. Sorry. Yep, we're doing it. We already told Bryan it and he already put it on Twitter. Sorry. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So I don't know, but we'll talk some more tomorrow. And yeah, go cuddle with fiance and kitty. I'm going to go see if my cat will get up on her, on his, as a boy, called her. Oh, he's not in here, is he? No. I look for him every night. I'm like, because sometimes he be in here and he's sneaky. He's fat, but he's sneaky. But we got him in cat tower and it's huge and has all these little spots for him to hide in. But like he's just looking at it kind of right now. Like, and we have it beside, like we have a huge glass window and I put it like right in front of it. Like, because we live on the back side. So it's not like anyone could see up there really. So I hope he likes it. I'm about to go spray some catnip on that thing. So one day in a wake up, yeah. And I'll be on tomorrow too. Oh, noisy. Oh, your son's bringing you on tomorrow. Good. You got to have that. Yeah, they didn't know. Oh, that's what I heard, that they needed like better instructions. Oh my gosh, this gonna be bad, isn't it? If he walks out of there like with all those charges, like completely dropped, I will be stunned. I won't be, but I will be. Yeah, trying to have a good night, DM. I know this is like, crazy. At least you know what, we can go to bed tonight and we can actually go to bed. I think of this. Bryan Kohberger is never getting out of prison or jail. He's always going to be in a jail or a prison. And he has no chance, in my opinion, that would be like his DNA chance, worth of him walking out of a prison or a jail. So unless he escapes, which I don't see him doing that. Yeah, he ain't walking nowhere. So we can all, at least have think about that and think about the victims and the victims' families. And if you do pray, say a little extra prayer for them tonight because they're going to need it. And the families of their children and everybody, extended family and all, But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow with you guys, same time, not same time, probably 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we'll see what we can get into. And maybe we'll go over the PCA and read it just like as if we know who the killer is, because we do now, and we can say it if we want to. We don't have to say alleged anymore. In 1-2 days, I'm not saying alleged anymore. But thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to live this out. We got this far, don't know how.